Welcome to the Hoppothetically podcast with Nikki Downtown and Fat Nate. We provide thoughtful and correct answers to probably the most important questions in the world. I'm a New York City-based comedian. Nathan is a New York City-based dyslexic. Thank you so much for being here. We hope you enjoy the show. Hoppothetically, episode 37. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We got Manth, who's a friend of the pod.
I actually don't think that's true.
Friend of the pod, Manth, and Manth's sister, Jessi. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Am I the friend of the pod?
Well, friend of the pod. She's like a regular.
We'll figure that out.
She was on it once.
We'll figure it out throughout the episode.
I want to be here. She doesn't.
That's true. All right, Jessi, friend of the pod. Manth, Jessi's sister. That's how we're going to refer to you from the rest of the episode. Do you want to talk about Greg?
Yep.
Who's Greg?
It's my boyfriend.
Ooh, tell it. So, Greg.
New relationship.
They both just said I love you to each other, and Jessi was pooping. Care to tell us about that?
No, that's when she realized.
That's when she...
Yeah, when I was pooping.
When he was about to say I love you, did you figure it out? And you're like, wait, give me a minute. And then you went to the bathroom, started taking a shit, and you're like, now go.
It was the nervous poops.
That's such a manly way to look at it. Like, she said I love you first, and I don't think you
Oh, wait, what did he say?
Oh, wait, so she sat on the toilet and was like, this is it? And then I think that makes the story a little better, but...
She was shitting hard, she was like, I don't know if there's going to be a tomorrow. And it made her think, who's important to me right now?
There's no pooping, guys. But I said it first, okay?
Oh, there was no pooping. It was period stuff. Sorry.
Oh,
no, I had a
man.
Listen, I had a UTI and a yeast infection,
Ew.
and I was on my period. Stop. You guys need to know about this.
The trifecta.
UTI and yeast, so you're like moldy bread.
I'm be honest with you, I'm pretty sure most of our fan base, I'm pretty sure it's like all just like incels.
Listen, guys, if you're listening, you're incels.
What is the demographic of people who listen to this?
Incels.
If it's 40 people or less, do you say demographic?
Do you say demographic?
I like saying the word demographic.
A cop pulls you over, but then he just keeps trying to give you his mixtape. That's the whole thing. He like pulls you over. You're like, what am I getting pulled over for?
Yeah, do you know why I pulled you over? And then you just start to hear like...
And yeah, it's like he doesn't notice it.
Yeah, he's like, what's that?
You say I don't have any cash on me.
No, it's a gift. Yeah.
He's like,
that's what they always do. They give it to you and then they want more.
Yeah, he's like, sir, could you please turn down your music and then go on Spotify real quick and search.
Do you have an aux cord? No. Oh, it's okay. I have one.
Like, do you have it on CD? Do you have a CD player?
What would they ask for instead of license and registration?
That's a good point.
I think they still do that. They get through like the whole process, and then they get you to get out of the car, and then they put it on.
If you know your rights, you won't get out of the car.
Yeah, you're one of those guys that only rolls down the window like this much, and they're like, that is fine. What if the mixtape was called A Warning? And they're like, I'm just going to give you a warning. And you're like, oh, thank you so much. And he's like, no problem.
And he just like puts the QR code to the window.
Do you think you could get away with that if you were not a cop, like impersonating a cop? I think that would actually be a good business strategy. You impersonate a cop, pull people over, give them the QR codes. Eventually, you go to jail, but it would be a national news story, right?
I think it would just get local.
I don't think
think
you'd get
national. Yeah.
You can't
You're not getting that kind of coverage.
And it's so random what does get national coverage. You can't bank on it.
Yeah.
That's kind of how you think like every podcast clip, like you're like, oh, this is good, it'll go viral.
How did you do? You're the cop.
I go through the process, and then when I'm done, I'm just like, I'll just let you off with a warning, and then when I return you your ID, I also have the mixtape in my hand. It's very subtle. You can't even tell.
You accidentally put it in your wallet?
Yeah, you're like, oh no, and then when you get home, you open your wallet, boom, mixtape. Now you're curious.
I would try to refuse to take it in a court of law.
Well, when we go to court and you contest it, then I don't even bring up the mixtape thing. I'm very adamant that you were speeding. I mean, I still have a job I'm doing.
I bet that's part of the cop's strategy, because you bring in the mixtape to court, and then you have to play the mixtape for a whole courtroom, and they're like, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't have gotten that ticket, but this slaps.
Does a mixtape have to be a CD? Could it be on like
Yeah,
vinyl?
no, it's still a CD. Wait,
a vinyl?
you want a big vinyl?
Do you happen to have a record player in your car?
Yeah.
No? Alright, you can take it.
I would take a vinyl mixtape. I'm not taking a CD. You didn't try hard enough.
You want a cop to bring you an entire vinyl.
So you'd like on the street, you would have a guy who had a huge thing of records come up, and he's like, hey, can I talk to you for a second? And you're like, yes.
Absolutely.
What do you have to say, sir? Well,
That's the best chance for me to listen to it.
when's the last time you got pulled over? How'd it go? Have you ever been able to talk your way out of a ticket?
No, I'm gonna answer for you. I
I
was
did
going
the second time.
Samantha was taking me to volleyball practice. We're going down a windy road. We get pulled over by a man named, I think it was like Vince. I
I
don't
don't
know.
even know his name.
I don't know, because our dad knew
It was
him.
Officer Faxio.
Faxio. He was very tall. He was like 6'5". He wore big boots on a motorcycle. Samantha cried like a bitch.
What was funny is I had met him the day before at a picnic,
Really?
and I didn't realize.
And did you get another ticket?
His name is Vince Faxio.
It's not Vince. It's
It's Vince. I think it was maybe a Vince Vaughn or something.
That's such a strong name.
which is weird. It was a tall like black man with like big boots on. Like I don't know where you're thinking Vince.
I don't know. He was a.
But I got.
Did he have a good jawline?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds
course.
like a name with a good
Yeah.
jawline.
Faxio sounds like a cop who would hand
It
you a
wasn't
mixtape.
Vince.
Yeah.
Check it out, it's Vince Faxio in the...
But like I met him you met him actually.
Who?
I've met Vince Faxio.
Yeah. Well,
It's not Vince. It's not Vince.
Yeah.
It's just Faxio.
He doesn't even have a first name.
I
It's
forgot
just
it.
Faxio.
I
That's
just
That sounds even more like a band.
Right?
But I got pulled over by him. I met him at a SWAT picnic on a Sunday. On Monday, I got pulled over by him, and I was just so upset that I cried, and I didn't want to be that girl who was like every black police officer on a motorcycle who's really tall looks the same. So I got a ticket. and then a few months later, it was the last day of my senior year of high school. I went to court, and he dismissed the ticket for me.
Officer Faxio.
Yeah.
And then I got pulled over again by Officer Medlin, and I said, "You know my dad."
Oh,
And
that's awkward.
And he didn't give me a ticket.
I'm too honorable to do that. I also followed the speed limits.
Yeah, you know my dad and I know your work, and then you sing a song, and then...
What do you think the song is?
This land is yours.
That was the song, yes.
How long, if a cop pulled you over when he asked for your stuff, he just broke into a rap? How long would you let him do that before you were like, am I free to go?
Am I breaking into the rap?
No, just
okay,
him.
yeah,
And I'm a cop.
You're being pulled over by a cop. The cop starts talking to you, and he's rhyming.
Yeah. Like it has a clear rhyme scheme.
How long before you're really scared?
I'm not. Oh, right off the bat. I'm not saying a thing though.
Hi, do you know why I pulled you over? On this street called Clover. What? License and registration.
Dover.
Fuck. It's pretty hard to rhyme with registration.
Anticipation.
Yeah.
Nice.
You're waiting with bated breath. Anticipation. What? Would you get into it, or would you be like, can you
I'll
call your
start
supervisor?
beatboxing. I wish I could beatbox. No
Yeah.
one can.
Boots and cats.
Oh, that works. That's right.
You never heard of that before?
No, I didn't, but that's amazing, yeah.
Boots and cats. You're a child. Your parents sit you down to have the sex talk, but the whole talk is just that they're like, hey, I'm your parent, so I'm not gonna have sex with you. It's not you, it's just that we're related.
Is it
I hope that clears things up.
is it bad to be disappointed, like in that situation? To be like, oh, I'm not good enough? Or is that
They try to explain that as clearly as they can. They're like, really, you're amazing. I'm proud of you.
my problem is just why did you bring up that I won't get to do it at all? Like, we didn't even have this. I thought we weren't, but now that you're saying it so deliberately, I'm just hurt.
But they're like, it's not a rejection.
No, but it feels like you could have just not. You could have brought a book in, and I know there's no book on how to reject your child from sex. So any other sex book would have been fine. But you
It's like
chose
a regular sex book. One of the pages is just you guys not having sex that they clearly made. It's like,
yeah, and it's like, but it's not because you're ugly. Like we promise. Like the book says that.
I feel like
Yeah.
kids are so, like, I feel like introduced to sex stuff so early that, like, by the time the parent gives a kid the sex talk, they already know, like, crazy stuff. Where you're like, well, you're gonna have feelings, and your kid's like, should I eat ass? Do I eat ass? Or who eats ass?
I think they know, like I remember learning what humping was before I knew what sex was. But I think they just learned the, like, information in the wrong order.
That actually seems like the right order.
Humping?
Yeah, because humping is, like, sex without the... You mean, like, just this motion?
Right, with penetration.
Yeah.
So I remember, like, somebody saying humping, and my mom, like, being like, what do you think that means? And I just went like this, like...
Ew!
And
Did you
she-
know that it was pelvises, or did you think it was
I
hands?
had no clue. I was just like, I thought people's bodies did that, but there was no penetration involved. It was just like, you're like bumping torsos.
Any two things that collided was humping.
Yeah.
Katie spoiled the whole sex talk for me. She just told me all the stuff, and then when I got there, I wasn't surprised at all.
You want it to be a
Well,
surprise?
It was disappointing. Just if you go to a movie and someone had told you the whole plot, you weren't going to be excited about it.
How
Wait,
fun would
what
it
were
be?
you waiting for?
I just when we got to the talk, we had all these books, and I just already heard all of it. But I
fun-
didn't like get the first-hand experience of the talk. I had this second grader telling me.
Was she right?
That bitch.
I mean, she was kind of like half. She like vaguely.
She thought women had penises. But other than that, she nailed it.
Loser.
The man takes his penis and puts it into the woman's penis.
Sounds like you both have the same joke.
Well, I set it up. I mean, really, the setup was so masterful, probably anybody could have gotten.
That's such a good point.
When I do the sex talk, I'm going to try to build suspense. It's going to be over a week, and I'm going to have cliffhangers. The man puts his penis into the woman's vagina, more tomorrow. They're going to be like, oh, what happens? What happens then?
What does happen? You gave more vagina and penis.
Yeah, you should have just
sorry.
said, and then the man uses his penis, and then.
The man does something which excites the woman.
God, this is not.
More tomorrow, son. The man puts his penis somewhere. Is it at the bank? More tomorrow, son. It's gotta be at the bank. Your parents are always going to the bank.
I feel like most people don't get the sex talk.
Did you not get the sex talk?
You didn't get a sex talk?
I got the sex talk, but because I asked for it. I was like, can I?
That's
It's not
ironic.
That's it.
Everyone's
If you knew enough to ask for the sex talk, why did you want the sex talk?
What were the words
What,
you used?
yeah, what did you want for
Well,
that?
I heard there was the sex talk and the money talk.
That would suck if you had the sex talk
It
first,
was not
and then
as
you
fun
got the
as
money
sex.
talk, and you were like, oh, this
Or
sucks.
the money talks about prostitutes. Yeah. Sex talk. And then they're like, yeah, you don't tip prostitutes. Anyway. Some people do that. It's fucking weird. Right? Europe rules with prostitutes. No tipping.
I mean, at the end, they pull out an iPad, and it's like, will you tip 20%? I probably wouldn't do that.
Oh,
but if they
had
don't
an
ask
iPad, then I'd have to.
I was gonna say, if
Pressure's
they
too
have
much.
an iPad, yeah.
No,
And it
it's
gives you the
opposite.
suggestion.
Yeah,
Since
opposite.
20's
yeah.
the lowest.
If they push the tip on me,
Yeah.
fuck that. But if
They-
they're just working out of the goodness of their heart, sure, I'll tip them.
No, but if I say like, hey, I want this, and they say, here's my rate, I'd say, okay, I'm gonna pay them that amount.
And you wouldn't tip them a little extra?
It's the same for acrylic nails. You know how it's $65.
They have that
nails.
posted on their wall.
Huh?
And it's not, they have the amount for the nails posted on the wall, and the person doing my nails doesn't necessarily own that business. So I'll tip them. The person setting the price.
Wait.
What if their pimp says it's $20?
Wait,
I wouldn't go
Mantha.
to a pimp-based
Mantha.
prostitute.
Mantha, would you be
Woman
upset if you came with a party over 6 and there was added gratuity? Would that be a problem?
For the prostitute?
Yeah, for the prostitute.
If I'm bringing 6 people to a prostitute,
And there was
then I'm
added.
like, why can't we have fun between the 6 of us? That's on us.
I think that'd be a very funny question if you were talking to a prostitute and you were like, okay, honestly, like here's the question: is gratuity included in your rate, or how does that work?
Are taxes included or
Yeah, how
not?
does the taxes? Do I have to file this? Can I expense this? I have a very stressful job where I do not come at all. Yeah, I drove here.
Can I get a receipt for my employment reimbursement?
Yeah.
My wellness reimbursement?
There is actually a section in your tax form for like illegal activity, like illegal gains have to be filed. Yeah,
What do
it's
you-
for
what do you put on there?
exclusively people who sell weed because it's legally allowed in the state but not federally, so you have to claim it as illegal federal gains.
So are you putting it on there and pretending you sell weed every time you ask as a prostitute for other men?
Yeah, you say you sell weed, but you lost $300. Sold weed for negative $400. What a fun deal that was. Okay, so let's say you're giving your kids the sex talk. First of all, what age do you give your kids the sex talk?
Like, I feel like
How
before
attractive are they?
puberty.
Before puberty?
Yeah. Whenever they start showing interest in somebody.
And okay, what if you had to, you're about to give them the sex talk, but the rule is you have to tell them one thing that is not true.
Well, for example, when I was getting the sex talk that I asked for,
So funny. Do you remember how you asked for it?
Yeah.
I know, I think I asked my mom, I was like, when am I getting the sex talk? And she
Did
told
you? Was it because you felt left out? Like, what was the reason?
So my friend Sam Fuller, she showed me a promiscuous Christmas card, and I said, "What's that all about?" So she told me about sex. And then we went up to her mom's room, and we said, "What's this all about?" And then her mom made me go home.
Go home.
Your parents weren't even the first person you asked for the sex talk from?
No,
Damn.
it didn't matter who.
Did that upset them when you were like, you guys are actually my number 2 choice?
That's pretty funny, and then you could compare your parents like, this is what sex is, and you're like, well, that's not what that is.
Yeah.
My mom was going through the story, I said, "Do you leave your bra on, or do you not leave your bra on?" And she said, "It's up to you."
That's for
Forward-thinking woman.
That's weird.
For
From
sure.
your mom?
Yeah.
You had no other questions?
I just want to know if bra on or off. She didn't give me an answer. I still don't know to this day.
Do you have the answers? We don't know.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, every time you're actually wearing like a life jacket, I don't know. I'm just something. I don't know.
A rash guard.
Yeah. You're giving kids a sex talk. One thing in the sex talk must be not true. What do you tell them and why?
Mine is you always have to wear a bra.
You always have to wear a bra.
Yeah. Do not take your bra off.
I feel like when people give the sex talk, it's always like when a mom and dad love each other. Like that's like the stereotypical one. You don't need love.
Oh my gosh.
And that's a lie. You do need love.
Yeah, you're like, you can have sex with someone you don't if you don't love them. Fucking idiot. If you take your bra off during sex, your boobs will pop. That's the only thing that keeps them in, because the air pressure, it's like...
I was gonna wait until the end, like when we get to the end of the sex talk, and they're like, "Does everybody do this?" I was like, "Oh God, no, that's fucking disgusting," and just make it really gross.
That's
Just be like, I would personally never have sex. So that's vile. But if you want to, it's totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
I would do that, but I would say it's a Jewish thing. Yeah, so everyone has to. No, I mean Jewish people do.
No, but then you would have this weird, horny, anti-Semitic child.
Anyone can.
They couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
Like a Nazi incel. Like that's how you make them.
That's all you folks at home.
Did your parents also tell you that it was a Jewish thing?
Yeah, Christians have Christmas and Jews fuck. I thought it was Hanukkah. What do you think they do for those 8 days?
Maybe it would make them the opposite of anti-Semitic.
Semitic.
It make them Jewish. If you weren't circumcised, it'd be a reason to get circumcised. But I had a friend of a friend that got circumcised at like 13 or 14, and apparently he was just like, yeah, I can't. He was like, I don't jerk off or have sex anymore. It all feels terrible.
Well, he was 13.
Yeah, so he like had jerked off.
He's saying his original penis was so much more pleasurable.
Yeah, that he literally, he's like, I can't even, he's like, honestly, I'm having trouble like getting hard. It's just nothing feels good anymore.
That's really sad.
Yeah, and it's gone forever. He will always know that.
Probably the saddest story ever.
Or he's just like gay.
So true.
Just needs to try men.
These are my questions. You can choose which one you want to talk about. Okay, do you think kids who were raised that were allowed to watch SpongeBob are doing better than the kids who were not allowed to watch SpongeBob? That's my first question. Second question, is pooping funny?
I think the SpongeBob kids are less straight.
Sounds like you watch SpongeBob.
Yeah.
I think those are related, actually.
Greg wasn't allowed to watch SpongeBob.
Really?
Who?
And yet you love him?
Yeah, well.
Do you ask because you noticed that he didn't watch SpongeBob?
Well, I talked about it with his mom.
Whom she loves. Poop. Remember Poop?
Oh, poop, yeah.
What about poop?
The Poop story.
Yeah, the poop story where
You're taking a big shit and you're there. I love you.
Were you saying it to the poop and then you happened to be on the phone with him and it was a weird, awkward situation?
Like
I
a
hate to
sitcom
ruin it.
moment.
Yeah, it was like a weird sitcom moment.
It wasn't poop related.
How often do you tell your poops you love them?
Sometimes, for sure. Huh?
Yeah, how often do you poop?
More than I'd like to talk about, but I love it every time.
How much would you like to talk about?
Poop?
Yeah, how many poops would you like to talk about?
Probably like 6 times a week.
Okay, so talk about each of the 6.
Every day.
Now, right now.
They are sturdy.
Oh.
I don't have to work hard.
What's your secret to sturdy poops?
I eat a lot of fiber. You guys would know. I drink water and eat fiber.
Yeah.
You guys would know.
I mean,
nothing
I
about
don't.
that.
I hate my poops, and they're very loose, and I don't eat any fiber. So I get it. I get what you're saying. We can't hear you unless you. There you go.
How do I get fiber? Veggies, bitch. I poop like it's my job.
And she's commented inappropriately.
Is it weird that all my poops look like they're sculpted to be my face? You know that?
You don't drink water
you know
or eat
that-
veggies.
Maybe that's why. You know that like latte thing you got me? That's what my poops look like. It just looks like my face going.
I'm not shocked. And you have to work hard for them too, I bet.
Like God, you made them in your image, and that's beautiful. You're a creator.
Those take at least 30 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have to do a weird mix of clenching and unclenching to get it like that, or is it just natural?
You know how Domino's, if it's not delivered in 30 minutes or less, it's free? For me, if I don't finish pooping in 30 minutes or less, I don't wipe.
I don't
What
need
was
to
your
wipe.
question?
Yeah.
Oh, SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Is pooping funny?
I think we've demonstrated that it is not.
I think pooping so.
No, pooping is very funny.
What's your funniest poop?
Oh,
Are
I
you
forgot that
going
you
through
asked that. I was
yeah.
like, why are we just ignoring the SpongeBob question? Because you also asked the poop question.
Are you going through a list in your head? Do you have a list of your top 5 funniest poops?
No, the times that pooping really gets you is when you have to take all your clothes off.
I get that.
You know?
there are some poops where you're like, I can't be part of civilization for this poop. I need to get to my roots.
Get to the woods.
You gotta be primal.
Yeah, you go
To
into the
get
middle of
through
the
it.
woods, you're just screaming and shouting through the whole shit.
So you find your poops funny, but are other people's poops? If you walked in, someone hasn't flushed.
No.
Not
that's
funny?
funny.
That's not funny.
You've never walked in, opened a stall, seen a poop, and just started laughing?
A poop without without context is not funny.
True. I
It's
need to
just
know
poop.
the story.
I got it. Yeah.
What is your story?
What if there's a poop in the toilet and there's a little note with the story? Could it then be funny?
That's funny.
So it's really it's everything around the poop that makes poop funny.
Yeah.
Not the poop itself.
No, I don't want to just look at poop. That's
I don't want to just look at
I don't want to
poop.
look
Yeah,
at anyone's
poop's
poop.
not enough for you?
Pooping's funny.
Pooping's funny.
Pooping's funny.
Some would say I'm an intellectual.
SpongeBob has no poop in it, though.
Yeah.
You ever notice that?
And that's my qualm.
Man, you trying to find a poop episode?
They don't even need, they all float up. They don't even need toilets.
Not all of them.
No, all poop floats up.
No, not all of them.
Thank you, Mantha.
No, I think there has to be some kind of like, there has to be a lot of fat in your poop or something.
Could
All
you
of mine
imagine
float.
taking a huge, difficult shit and then looking at it and you're like, my poop's fat. I have fat poop. I need to work on my poop because it's fat.
Yeah, you said you made poop that looked like you.
My poop looks exactly like me. That's
Got
not
'em.
nice. That's so mean.
Got him. You are taking the red eye on a train home on Christmas Eve because you want to see your kids and you've been on a long work trip. But then you realize one of the connections in your train is the Polar Express with like all the kids and shit and the hot chocolate. And you're like, I just want to sleep and get through this fucking
That's
train
pretty
ride.
funny.
But it's the fucking Polar
Yeah, you're
Express.
like, and they're like, why, this is the Polar Express. And you're like,
Yeah, and they're all singing and screaming about hot chocolate, and you're like, I thought this was the quiet car.
you're
doing
trying
this.
to connect to the Wi-Fi because you have a thing, and they're like, there's caribou on the tracks.
This isn't the point, but I don't think hot chocolate is very good, and that's the only reason I would be.
Probably because you let it cool.
Yeah,
No, I'm not. I'm not.
cold chocolate isn't very good.
Have you heard the rules about trains?
Have you heard the one rule?
Train?
No.
Never ever let it cool.
Oh, I knew that. That's why I wouldn't be okay with it because I don't think hot chocolate's that good.
Do you want to hear how you get caribou off the tracks?
Sure. I don't get it.
A lot of noises in that movie.
Yeah, there is.
What if you were like just a regular businessman and you had to board the Polar Express and you gave him the ticket and then Tom Hanks did that hole punch thing to you? It just says like mergers and acquisitions and you're like, oh.
Is this a cheaper ticket?
It's just the only.
Yeah, that's why you bought it. The one train on Christmas that's full of kids. Like, what are you getting for Christmas? And you're like, I have a lot of work to do.
Do you think you are also wearing your pajamas?
You're wearing a business suit. You're a business boy. You've been a long day of businessing, and you're going home.
What if when you get on the Polar Express, if you sincerely don't believe in Santa, Tom Hanks is like so fucking mean to you?
Yeah, they don't kick you off, but they're just so passive aggressive.
There's like a car for people who don't believe in Santa and like.
No, it's the same car. You know when they're doing those crazy hot chocolate tricks? Mm-hmm. They're like clearly doing it really well, and then when it gets like close to you, they just spill some on you.
Yeah, on your crotch.
Yeah, they're like they're juggling 8 of them, and they just kind of lob one, and they keep going.
Jew.
Isn't the whole thing you just can't hear the bell?
You're not going to get that far. This is a connection.
Oh,
You're
not
getting
that
off.
far.
You're not going to the North Pole. You had shit to do.
But maybe you can't taste how good hot chocolate is. 'Cause
Oh.
maybe that's me.
Oh, that you don't believe in Santa, so
yeah.
hot chocolate tastes like ass.
Yeah.
If you're on the naughty list, you get coal, and hot chocolate tastes like ass. Ass. I wish I wasn't so mean to my sister, because this is ass.
I feel like the worst part would be at one point you would have to go to the conductor, who is Tom Hanks, and be like, hey, I've been looking out the window and the train's been kind of tipping everywhere and people have been climbing on it. I've been hearing noises.
Why do you say that?
Because that happens in the movie.
Does it?
Yes.
That's on me.
This question's a little tough. I assumed we all had watched the Polar Express and loved Christmas and Jesus, but
Maybe I shouldn't
yeah.
be so vocal.
Yeah. What's your favorite part about Satan?
I have a friend who's into Satanism, actually.
How is that?
And I read the 9 satanic commandments.
They did the same thing, but just have one less.
It's 9. And literally, it's not as crazy as you think it'd be.
They were like, you guys took 10, but we can do the same thing in 9.
Honestly, it just seems more realistic. I'm not saying Satan's the way to go, but I'm just saying if you guys I'm just saying it's you should look into
What's
it.
your wait, what are the 9?
That would be crazy if I decided all
If you just railed them
I'd
off.
go cross-eyed and start levitating.
Would you guys still, assuming you do believe in God to some extent, would you still believe in God if if it turned out there was 11 commandments and the 11th one was just like, see commandment number 1?
Yeah, I would be more inclined.
You're following college sports. Would you be a fan of a team if they were called the New England Widowers? Tell me about this team.
Wait, is the whole team full of people who have widowed their...
No. It's a regular basketball team. It's just the mascot's a widower. Tell me about the mascot. Tell me about the school chant. Whatever you
That
got.
would obviously just be a spider.
But that's a black widow. This is a widower.
I just imagine the mascot would always try to get the mic from the announcer people and just start crying. And
Yeah, it could be a spider, but it's like he's like drunk.
yeah,
and,
he's
like,
really fucked up.
not doing good.
I just imagined a guy with like 5 o'clock shadow, and he just has like a bottle of Jack Daniels, and he's really upset. And when he, you know, the parts where like the mascot will like fuck with the audience, he just goes to an audience member and starts crying and explaining to them about.
Yeah, he doesn't have a signature dance. His thing is he's like trying to figure out where he parked. He can't remember where he parked.
Yeah, they have a team of people because they don't want him around female audience members. He makes them really uncomfortable. He's like, "You smell like Sharon," and they're like, "You
Yeah,
gotta
it's the
go."
halftime flirting with the 17-year-old.
Yeah, what's
like-
his halftime bit?
Yeah, he's like, hey,
Yeah, he gains the confidence.
you remind me a lot of my wife.
Because usually they have the like mini trampoline and they try to like do the little
No, he's
basket
very
thing.
upsetting.
Oh, they try to dunk or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just walks around like in the middle of the court with his head kind
In
of
a sense, he tries to score, but it's not fun. People don't like it.
just scores bitches.
Yeah. He's like in the center. He tries to get some girl to come dance with him, and he's like, next time, whatever.
Yeah, I'm signing on to that team. I'm investing.
You're a fan.
Yeah.
Whenever the team scores, the big chant is just like, who cares?
Yeah.
What do you think their team colors are? Has to be black and white, right?
Just the saddest.
I would think red for blood too, and Satan.
A woman. Oh.
I'm just kidding.
How'd they die?
Yeah, most of us were thinking cancer. He's like, no, she was murdered.
She was murdered. We still can't figure it out. Some of his halftime shows thing is him just going over the evidence again, and he makes you go through his crazy ideas with him.
He has a t-shirt gun and he shoots it, but it's her clothes. And he cries. He's like,
Khakis.
this was big for me. This took 3 years.
Hits a kid with a shoe from the gun.
Wait, what?
Wait, what? What is your thing?
Wait, is it her shoe?
He said his shoe, a little boy's shoe.
No.
The kid has like a woman's shoe,
Yeah.
The guy puts her like heels inside the gun.
and the gun shoots it at a kid.
Yeah.
And his parents are like, don't touch that. He's gonna want that back later. I think he's
the-
gonna want to smell that later.
At the end, they all cheer, not because the team won, because he's regaining his confidence, and they're all really proud of him for it. It's like a solemn clap, like you're getting there.
Yeah, every game there's like we're all going out to a bar afterwards, and nobody comes ever.
Except him.
Yeah, we're all going to Finnegan's, and then just he runs to Finnegan's, and they know his name.
After he collects all their clothes back, then
Actually, can I have that back?
Yeah,
This was a little premature.
What's sad is every season he gets more and more. He gets it more and more together, but then at the start of the next season, he just regresses back to the guy he was at the start. We're like, oh, we're really hopeful. But that's the real why you come to see The Widowers. It's not for the team's atrocious basketball. It's to see if he finally overcomes his dead wife.
Yeah, if the team scores 100 points, he goes on a date with a lady, but then midway through the date, he realizes he's not ready. And he cries.
You would date him?
yes.
You try.
But what would happen to the whole basketball team would be really upset.
With me?
Well, yeah, because if it works out, then what the fuck is their team?
Yeah, no one likes a happy.
Yeah.
You ever hear somebody whose wife died and then they're happily married again,
Yeah.
and you're like, that's great, but in your head you're like,
Yeah, but what happens? Yeah, but what happens when they all go to heaven? What's that going to be like?
Who?
You, the person who's dating the widower, and their dead wife. What's gonna what's gonna happen? Feels like a weird cuckold situation. Now we have to work out.
Well, you don't know if everyone's going to heaven.
You are, the Satan thing.
You know, with Satan.
Yeah, that really. You know what? We're good. Covers all the bases.
that's why you're dating a Muslim. Just in case.
Just if something happens to her, I can get a.
You're not
Christian
sure
wife.
who it is, but you know one of you is not going to be in heaven.
Yeah.
Whoever's right, the other is not
Yeah.
in heaven.
The
so
trick
no
is
problem.
if you get divorced, you also change religion so that you're always safe.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the trick.
There's not a different heaven and hell for all the religions.
No, there's just hell for all the wrong
Yeah,
religions.
yeah. And then there's heaven for the Catholics.
That's such a good point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know where I'm going. Both.
Oh
Both.
wow! You're gonna. It was an A or B, but you just.
Yeah.
You
It's
just
like a
pick both?
timeshare thing, I think.
You know, okay.
I still don't know what a timeshare is.
That's
tell
not
her.
what.
Don't tell her.
Don't tell her.
You're at a time sir presentation, just not getting it. You're like, where do I sign? Okay. And you keep showing up at the wrong time. Can I come into the house? Did I buy this house? No.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
It makes
that's great.
no sense.
All right, I'll see you. Okay.
That's not a good investment.
Can I come back this afternoon? No. Okay.
Do you guys think Mary breastfed Joseph? Nope. Do you guys think Mary breastfed Jesus?
I do think Mary breastfed Joseph, but Joseph, but not Jesus.
Okay, let's start over. Do you guys think
She was a virgin, but she still let Joseph. Keep going. Your thing.
Do you guys think Mary breastfed Jesus?
Why
If
would
they
she-
did have bottles, Jesus would have turned the
thing into wine.
no into breast milk. What do they call it when it's not formula? He would have turned the formula into breast milk.
Formula.
Jesus, you're a formula baby. Nope.
Whose breast milk would have been?
No one's. It's just the Holy Spirit. I guess you could pick anyone.
Yeah, it's God's breast.
This is
milk.
your breast milk.
Is a milkmaid someone who makes milk for
No,
someone?
no, that's
What's a milkmaid?
That's a wet nurse.
That's a timeshare.
Yeah.
It's timeshare, yeah.
Is that what that is?
It's when you take turns
paid a lot of money
sucking
for
on
that.
someone's boob
Yeah.
for milk.
It's weird that they offer it for money, but yeah, you should tip them too.
A meter maid is someone who milks meters. Do we think Jesus was breastfed?
No.
I kind of think going around telling people you're the king of the Jews is a formula baby thing.
No, I mean,
I'm
every
the king of the Jews, by the
every
way. All
depiction
right,
of
Gerber,
Jesus,
baby.
he's like skinny or has abs, and I think formula like makes you fat.
Well, I think that some women can't breastfeed very efficiently, so I think maybe Mary just had a hard time.
Also, I think I'm not entirely sure, but I believe if it's immaculate conception, you don't produce.
You wouldn't even be lactating. Do you think God had to practice before immaculate conception? He just gave somebody immaculate breast milk, and they were
Not
like,
the baby, just the breast.
just
Yeah,
the breast,
just
because
the
he was like not sure if he'd get it. So
Yeah,
he's like,
yeah.
you have breast milk, and everyone's like, that's a miracle. And she's like, yeah, look at this milk.
Yeah.
There's no baby. We can have this.
I feel like you've just got breast milk. There's milk coming out of your boobs. You wouldn't be like, this is for my child.
Miracle.
Yeah, I think if a woman came out onto the streets squeezing milk out of her breast, being like, "This is a miracle,"
backing
I don't.
up.
Yeah, I wouldn't. But back in the day, but she's got stoned.
I'm sticking to the cows.
Yeah.
I'm a vegan.
Was Jesus breastfed?
I said this at dinner, but do you think human milk is vegan?
No.
Yeah, it's
No.
consensual. That's actually the whole thing.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why bees and
But
milk.
I could theoretically get some non-vegan
Yeah,
human
you
milk
can get
by forcibly milking women.
Yes.
It would be very expensive. This is non-vegan.
Do you think just stealing breast milk is also?
Yes,
That
that is
makes
also
it-
in the same way you steal honey from bees. That is also not vegan.
What if I make love to a cow and I'm pretty sure we have the kind of relationship where she would give me her milk?
Does she what? Does the cow want to have sex with you?
She does now. I don't know about it first, but
Do you still? Is it? Do you
I
still?
know what's up.
Yeah.
If Jesus was
What other
born
route?
today, like if Jesus came back as a baby, would he be breastfed?
No, everyone's formula fed nowadays.
It's Jesus. He's gonna die for our sins one day. You're not gonna give him real breast milk.
Oh, maybe that's what Mary was thinking. She's like, I'm not going to give this guy. I know he's going to die at 30. I'll save my breast milk for a kid who's going to live to old age.
Do you just have siblings?
No.
That's a great question.
That's interesting. Jesus was an only child.
Yeah.
It shows. Jesus thinks the world revolves around him.
Basically.
Classic only
Yeah.
child thing.
What do you think? You're Jesus or something? He's like, I actually do think that.
I could see him being annoying. He's like, Jesus, like on the cross, like, ugh, this would happen to me. Oh my God. Everybody's looking at me. Even the other people getting crucified are like, who's this fucking guy?
He won't let anyone else take a turn on the cross. He's like, it's all me.
Do people get mad at your podcasts?
Yes.
Yeah, a lot, often.
Is it usually religion based?
Yes.
Everybody gets them going?
We
Yeah.
pissed off the Hindus a couple weeks ago.
How?
We were talking about if your
God had a
elephant head.
elephant head,
And
Yeah.
all the comments were like, "Oh, you wouldn't make fun of Muslims." Like for some reason, they were like, "Make fun of Muslims."
we would make fun of Muslims.
make fun of fucking Muslims.
I gotta go sleep.
Mantha wants to make fun of Muslims.
Let's
Mantha, you make
save that
one-
for off the mic, but let's do it.
Yeah.
It's a date. All right, I think that's pretty good. Hypothetically, episode 37. Hopefully, we got any of the audio saved. Sorry about the weird mic situation. Thanks so much for listening. Follow us on the Patreon. We're gonna post stuff. And hey, Manth, thanks for joining us. Hope you had fun.
I'm a podcast friend. Mantha's a foe.
Friend of the pod, foe of the pod. Good night, everybody.